Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Matt with Green Bar Trading here. I'm on vacation, as you can see, trying to talk a little bit low as people are still sleeping in the house. But I wanted to come on here and give you that weekly watch list video, as this week is shaping up to be a huge week in the market. So we have all these earnings on tap for this week. A very diverse group, right? You have a lot of tech, you have a lot of industrials. So we'll have to see, how these reports affect the overall market. Like I always say, I watch the earnings guidance, not just what they did in the previous quarter, but where they see profits in the future. Okay, so that's your earnings right up there. Okay, so going over to the economic calendar for this week, what I see as the most important thing is the jobs number this coming Friday. Other than that, there's not much coming out from the Fed. There is the initial jobless claims on Thursday that usually will, move the market a little bit. There's manufacturing numbers on Tuesday. I'm not saying those aren't important, but the jobs number on Friday is the most important. Now, that's going to be the last jobs report before the Fed meets at Jackson Hole in August, right? There's no FOMC in August. So there's no rate decisions in August, but they do meet at Jackson Hole. So we're going to want to get all this, inflation and jobs, big economic data to know where we see them going and what they're going to say from Jackson Hole. So that's going to be an important report right up there on Friday. So that's your economic calendar for the week. Looking at the market and the relative performance by sector, last weekend when I made this weekly watch list video, this looked a lot different. So the 1 week had the utilities, real estate, energy as the top gainers. That totally changed, and we're back to where we have been all year. Communication services, that's the Metas, the Googles, right? Technology, consumer cyclicals. And then you have the defensives on the week at the bottom. All right, so this is just the market we're in right now. What has been hot is staying hot. For how long? That's anybody's guess, but for right now, that's your sectors and their relative performance. Okay, now going over to our compass, the SPY. So, a really nice uptrend, obviously, since October. Well aware, everybody knows this. Nice trend line, right? But now it's getting extended. It has been extended. RSI is hot. The crazy part is this candle here on Thursday is a massive bearish engulfing candle. This candle engulfed the entire previous just about week and a half of trading all in one day on heavy volume, right? You can see down here. Usually not the best sign, but what it didn't do was it did not break this right here, right? So resistance, then it was support, then it was support again, and then bounced to a bullish hammer candle on the daily chart. All right, on pretty decent volume. And that was the PCE report came in better than expected. Inflation has been coming down. There's thoughts of the Fed maybe pausing here. There's no rate decision coming up in August besides the Jackson Hole. So there's really nothing much to scare the market at the moment. The VIX is super low, right? So every time the VIX comes down to this level, we're just about at the 13 level right now. That's been support. Now, when it does get to support, the VIX works a little bit differently. When it gets to support, that's been a good time to take some profit. All right, because as the VIX comes down, the market is going up, right? So we're coming back down to support. That's usually meant for a pullback in the overall market. So just keep an eye on that. You have, I have my support levels here and what years were the supports. So back in 2018, 2019, The support was around 11 or 12, give or take. Every time it came down to that, the market was calm, right? There was a lot of greed going on, a lot of buying in the equities, and that was usually a good time to take some profit before you got those spikes in the VIX, right? The pullbacks in the market, totally normal, but that's what I'm expecting here. So as we come down to support, I would be looking for the market to maybe pull back a little bit. Nothing crazy, doesn't have to be crazy here, but that's just what's happened basically ever since June, right? So that's what I'm looking at with the VIX. Just going quickly back to the SPY. This is where we're at. Consolidation, that big bearish engulfing to the bullish hammer candle on the weekly chart. We really dug ourselves out of what would have looked like a bad candle on the weekly. Now it just looks like every other candle we've seen on the weekly after a nice consolidation, a continued breakout, right? Highs on the year, the highest weekly close since all the way back to January of 2022. That's the highest weekly close for the SPY since January of 2022. So that's been a really, really nice move. Looking at the QQQ, its highest weekly close since you'd have to go back to 2021, and that's December here. All right. The highest weekly close on the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, since December of 2021. Very impressive moves. You had the consolidation, the breakout, the retest, and then the continuation. Very strong market, but like I said, the RSI has been overbought here since May, right? So you have May, June, July. You have 2 months here. Back in 2021, you had the same thing. 2 months of a hot RSI. You got a little bit of a pullback and then continued highs. All right. So what I'm expecting is something similar. RSI cannot remain this hot on the weekly chart without a pullback, without some kind of pullback. All right. And we saw that after this section here. Not saying that it has to happen, but patterns tend to repeat themselves. So that's where we're at right now with the QQQ. We went over the VIX and the SPY. Looking at AMD, who has earnings coming up. Going to take a look at this on the daily chart. It's currently in a very awkward spot. All right. Its share price is below the 50. The 20 EMA has crossed under the 50, which is not usually the best sign, right? Back here, when that has happened, it's really led to a pretty big pullback. Now you've had, breaks under it and over it before and seen continued nice rises. This is just separating right here. So I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. We do have earnings. Anything can happen with earnings coming up. While it is right at that 20 EMA, if you do get great earnings, this is easily going to push and try to get to AMD's all-time highs up here. So it's been on a very, very nice higher highs, higher lows, right? Higher highs, higher lows, and we're still in that right now. So we're just consolidating, all right? Investors have not just totally sold this off at all. It's a big player in the AI. AI has been so popular. I expect a lot from the earnings report. Speaking about that, if we get some nice commentary on future revenues coming out of AI, this thing can really, really pop. If not, since we're already weak under the 50 by the 200 by the 20 EMA here, then you could get a pullback maybe to this long-term trend line dating back over a year. So that's AMD right there, NVIDIA. This is going to be watching AMD's report, as it's going to have its report coming up also. So watch this. Either can't break out here at the 480, right? Because we've seen that happen before, multiple days. If it does, it's got a chance at breaking out. But like I said, very, very extended still. It is consolidating, and we have seen after consolidation nice breakouts. So that catalyst is going to be the AMD earnings and NVIDIA's earnings as well. All right. What else are we looking at here? On Microsoft, all right, just bounced at the 50. It's been pulling back, but after its earnings report, it made a lot of money. Earnings were good. The guidance was a little off on some things. So that's why Microsoft pulled back. Starbucks has earnings also. This is really jumbled here with all its major indicators. You got the 50, the 200, the 20 EMA. But what it's doing is it's holding up, right? And it just made a higher high back here at the beginning of last week. If earnings are good, this continuation will be up to about 110, maybe even higher. But that's Starbucks. We need to hear what they have to say. So that's pretty much it for me. Quick weekly watch list video while I'm on vacation. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.